Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining me for day 5. I have just remembered my phone is not on. Oh, yeah, it is. Cool. Gotta love doing live recordings. It's so much fun. Okay, so welcome to day 5. Today is our summary day. So I'm going to go over absolutely everything that we've covered in smaller detail, obviously, to get all 4 days in, and then leave a good enough time at the end for some Q&A. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. There we go. Okay, so this week we have covered our introduction with our paradigms as well. We've covered day 2 was mindset, day 3 was habits, day 4 motivation, linking into goals, and then today is our summary. So on day 1, we discussed, we did our welcome. So welcome again to all you people watching on the recording, or the people live as well. I introduced myself. So I am Jay. I showed you some pictures of the kind of things I get up to in my life and the background where I come from. We then went into paradigms. So a paradigm is a multitude of habits stored in the subconscious mind, which we'll cover in just a sec. 95% of our behavior is subconscious. So humans are visual thinkers. We think in pictures. So to help the healing arts, Dr. Thurman Fleet in 1934 came up with this little graphic, the stick person, to try and help the healing arts to realize that actually, if we don't treat the mind as well as the body, we're only ever going to treat symptoms. We're going to keep putting the fire out, but we're not going to solve the cause of the fire. Okay, so he drew it like this. You draw one big circle and you put a horizontal line across the middle. And then you have the body on the bottom, which is a smaller circle with lovely little arms and legs. The top half of the big circle is your conscious mind. The bottom half is your subconscious mind, which the Greeks referred to as your heart. And then you have your body. Your conscious mind is where you think. It's where you create all of your ideas. It's where your higher faculties are. All the knowledge that you ever learn is all stored up in the conscious mind. So you think with the conscious mind. That creates the feelings that you feel, which creates the vibration that your body is in. That vibration causes your actions. Your actions create the reactions from the universe, which creates your conditions, your circumstances, and environment. And we discussed that if you then focus on the conditions and circumstances, environment that you are now, which are formed by your previous thinking, you're just going to keep getting more of the same thing. Okay, so you have to start learning to think from the inside out, which is what we covered in day 2 and what we'll cover shortly. Okay, so with our thinking, with our conscious mind, we have a choice. We can either think negative thoughts, which cause worry, doubt, and fear, which puts us in a state of anxiety because we're worried. We don't express that anxiety, we suppress it, which causes depression, anger turned inwards. We're frustrated because we're worrying, we're doubting, we feel like crap. We can't share it with the world because that's not the done thing, which puts our body at dis-ease. But all of that's a choice. Okay. As part of this, we also considered the fact that our paradigm controls many things, and our paradigm is held within our subconscious mind. So what we're thinking creates our feelings. So if we're thinking negative and we're in worry, doubt, and fear, all of these things on the right hand side here are going to be a little bit out of whack. Okay, so our paradigms control our ability to earn money. If we are thinking from our current results, then we're just going to keep earning the same amount, the same amount, the same amount. It controls our perception, how we see the world. So if our paradigm is got some quite big beliefs, it's quite negative, then we're going to see the world in a negative light. We're going to look for the bad. Not very helpful. It controls our use of time. Procrastinator, anyone? Yeah? I can procrastinate like a queen when I want to. or when I don't want to, as the case may be, but I'm getting more of that under control at the moment through using this information, and it's awesome. It affects our creativity. Oh, I'm not creative. You are creative, you're just not letting it out. You're comparing yourself to somebody else. It can also controls our effectiveness, which impacts our productivity. Okay, so our paradigm is in control of our effectiveness. So if we've always just done the bare minimum or just sidled by, that's what we're going to continue doing. I don't know about you, but I find that if I'm in a situation, I go into a new situation, I've got loads of energy, I'm really happy, let's go, go, go. But as soon as things start to calm down a bit and you get settled and you find the shortcuts and you get comfortable, when you then need to step it up a bit, you can't. You know you need to, you know how to, you just don't. Paradigm. It's like, nope, you're happy, you're confident, you're quite comfortable where you are right now. We don't need to go up that level. And then you just stay where you are. Okay. Paradigm also controls our logic. So how we reason with the world and what we think about the world. Okay. So you've got the choice. You either focus on the negative or you focus on the positive. And positive thoughts create knowledge and understanding. So if you remember, we had negative thoughts create worry, doubt, and fear. And the opposite to worry, doubt, and fear is knowledge and understanding. So because we understand, we feel better about it. We believe in it. We have faith in it because we understand what's going on. We understand how it works. So we believe, we have faith. We are then in a state of wellness instead of a state of anxiety. You can't help but express wellness. If you're feeling awesome, you just want to tell the world. So it puts our body at ease. And these two are our own choice. No one can force you to choose a thought that you do not want to think. And if you think that it is because of somebody else, it's not. You're letting that thought affect you. It's your choice what you think. It's your choice whether you see the good or see the bad. There's good and bad in everything, equal amounts. Every single thing is good and bad. It only becomes good and bad when we decide that it's good or bad. As is, energy just is. There is no negative or positive to it until we decide. Okay, so that was paradigms. We then moved into our higher faculties, and Bob Proctor, my mentor, one of the co-founders of the Proctor Gallagher Institute, he mentioned quite a lot that it's actually only our mind, our conscious mind and our subconscious mind, that sets us apart from a dog or a horse or any other animal on the planet. So a dog and a horse can see, hear, smell, taste, touch, as can we. Okay. And we only ever really learn about those 5 senses in school. But we also have 6 higher faculties that a dog and a horse do not have. But very few of us know how to use them effectively. Okay, so all the other animals on the planet blend in with their environment. They are designed to blend in with where they are, like a chameleon. But literally any animal in any habitat or in its own habitat blends in. It becomes a part of it. Humans create their own. We literally can create any environment that we want to live in. A dog and a horse can't. Okay, so our higher faculties are these 6 things here. So we have our reason, which is what we use to think, to analyze, compare, and evaluate our ideas. We have our intuition, which is that little tiny voice inside that usually gets muffled by all the noise that we're surrounded by, and also by our paradigm, shouting to stay where you are. We have our willpower, which is our sustained concentration. It allows us to focus our attention on any one thing. Not many of us do it very well because there's such a distracting world that we live in. Then we have our memory. Everyone has a photographic memory, but some people just don't have any film. It's a nice little quote. We all have a photographic memory, but we don't use it, so it just dwindles off. Okay, you speak to a small child and you'll be surprised what they actually remember. And they don't realize they're remembering it, but they do have an amazing memory. It's only as we get older that we decide that we have a bad memory. We then have our imagination, and most of us use our imagination for bad or what ifs. Yeah, the what if syndrome. What if such and such happens? What if I fail? What if I don't get the job? Flip it on its head. If you can think negative, you can think positive. What if you do get the job? What if it goes amazingly? What if all my prayers are answered? Use your imagination for good. Use it to daydream and to see the world and see the person that you want to be, that you want to have. Yeah. And then we have our perception. So when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. It's our way that we see the world. As I said, there is polarity in everything: good, bad, up, down, in, out, front, back. It's up to us which side we see, and our perception is what controls that. Okay, so we need to start thinking from these, which is from our inside out, instead of being controlled by everything around us and how that impacts us internally. We need to start paying attention to that, yes, but not living from that. So receiving the signals, analyzing them with our reasoning factor, deciding, do I like that situation or do I not? If you don't, then you're using your imagination to create the world that you want to live in. Your willpower then holds that image in your mind, creates a future memory. And because you are then thinking from that person in the future, your perception of the world now becomes much, much more positive. And then you start getting more information through your intuition on how to get to that imagined state. See how it's all connected? Good stuff. Okay, the next thing that we looked at was our self-image. And we discussed that what you see in the mirror is only a reflection of your physical being. We are spiritual beings, and our body is our vehicle. It gets us from A to B in this section of life, whether you believe in rebirth or heaven and hell and all, whichever you believe in. For this stage of you, your body is just your physical vehicle. Yeah. So while your physical body and appearance are important, what's more important is how you see yourself on the inside, how you talk to yourself, your self-image. It massively affects everything in your life. Your confidence, your self-esteem, what you think you can and can't do, because you are the only problem in your life and you are the only limitation. And it's all from your paradigm telling you, oh, you can't do that. You're not skilled enough to do that, or you don't have enough money to do that. It's all paradigm, but it's self-image. It's the way that you talk to yourself. We are basically a cybernetic organism, as we discussed in the call yesterday. And your self-image is a big driver of that. Okay, so it's like the autopilot on an airplane. You give your self-image, or your self-image basically dictates where you're going, and it controls where you're going, because you can't outperform a self-image. Doesn't matter what you try and do, you cannot perform it. So for example, if you are trying to lose weight, you have to change your self-image as well as your habits. You can stop eating, change your diet, do more exercise, you'll make some progress. But unless you start seeing yourself as a skinny person or as the fit and healthy, strong person that you want to be, you're just going to put the weight back on because you haven't changed your self-image. And your self-image, like an autopilot, is on a correction. So if you're at this weight and you duck down a few kilograms or whatever, your paradigm's still working up here. So it will do everything it possibly can to change this result to get it back up here. Yeah? Good, good. We did discuss this quite a bit more on day one. And we also discussed why people do it. And it's because we don't know any different. But now you do. So now if you are trying to do something new, you know that you have to change your self-image as well as the habits. Otherwise, it's for nothing. You need to build the image of what you really, really want, and then develop the mental strength to hold that image, and act as if you are already that person. And if that person is a different self-image to what you are now, which is most likely, you need to start developing that self-image. You need to see yourself in a different way. And that was it for day one. So day two, which was Tuesday, we did a quick recap on paradigms, which I'm not going to do tonight because I've just done it. We then looked at the conscious and the subconscious and in a little bit more detail. We looked at the need to be open-minded, and then growth versus fixed mindsets, thought frequencies, and then tips on how to develop a good mindset. So we started off by talking about what is mind. Your mind is the control switch. It's where all the directions, the instructions go in to your physical body. So your brain takes these switches and then distributes them. So it's an electrical switching station. You think you need to do something. You think, I'm going to lift my arm. You tell your brain, I'm going to lift my arm. Your brain switches that signal on and your arm comes up. Obviously a lot quicker than that. And then your body is the manifestation of the electrical signals from the brain. So the brain is just the electrical switching station. Your brain is not your mind any more than your arm is you. You don't say, I am hand. What's that over there? Funny noises. You don't say, am hand or am arm. You say, my arm, my brain. Your brain, your body, your arm, what's the word? Not controlled, but not owned, but from the mind. Okay, your mind is the boss, and your mind is ethereal, it's spiritual. Okay, so conscious mind, our thinking mind, our educated mind, rational mind, where all our higher faculties are that we've just gone through, it receives all these sensory inputs. So everything you see, hear, smell, taste, and touch goes all into the conscious mind, and it's where it gathers all the information and sorts it out. It has the ability to have free will. So it can think and it can choose. It can accept, it can reject. So I haven't watched the news in a while because it's all doom and gloom, mostly. There are a few nice stories, which are lovely, but mostly it's doom and gloom because obviously of everything that's going on in the world. But the more you focus on the doom and gloom, the more doom and gloom we get. So I choose to not accept it. I choose to not ignore, I'm aware of it, but to not let it affect where I think I am. I choose my own mindset of where I am and where I'm going. I focus on where I'm going, not on the hardships of where I am now, because I focus from there and I'm working from there. Okay, the world needs a little bit more positive thinking, shall we say. We then have the subconscious mind, and I love this image. Thoughts are like seeds, so what you plant in your mind can be flowers or weeds. And as Bob Proctor used to say, you can plant deadly nightshade and sweet corn right next to each other. The earth will grow both of them equally and oppositely. One's a deadly poison, one's a sweet food. The earth doesn't mind what you plant, and neither does your mind. It will grow what you give it. So if you're thinking negative, you're going to plant negative seeds. Your subconscious mind is going to grow them. It doesn't know whether they're negative or positive. It's completely subjective. It does as it's told. It's where your paradigms live, and your paradigms are built from your beliefs. It feels what you are thinking, and it has no free will. It can't accept or reject. It must only accept. So everything you're thinking goes into your subconscious, becomes a seed. Your subconscious mind then grows it. So what are you planting? It's a choice. It's up to you. Okay. The next bit we covered was the need to be open-minded. So we had the difference between wishing and believing. If you are just wishing for your life to change, wishing for that thing that you want, you're just a dreamer. You need to believe that you've already got it and take the leap of faith. Take the steps that you need to take to get to it. Otherwise, you are just wishing. And yes, Geppetto's wishing got him a real boy, but it was up to Pinocchio to turn himself from a puppet into a real boy. That wasn't anything Geppetto could do other than teach him how to be good and teach him what being a real boy is like. Okay, so next bit that we discussed was the growth versus fixed mindset. This comes from the work of Carol Dweck, who has written quite a few very good books on the subject. So a growth mindset is the understanding that abilities and understanding can be developed. Those with a growth mindset believe that they can get smarter, more intelligent, and more talented through putting in time and effort. On the flip side, a fixed mindset is one that assumes abilities and understanding are relatively fixed. Those with a fixed mindset may not believe that intelligence can be enhanced, or that you either have it or you don't when it comes to abilities and talents. Their fixed mindset is going to give something a try once and then decide they can't do it, and that everyone who can do it was born with the natural ability to do it. Okay, and we had a look at this table, which was directly from Carol Dweck. Fixed mindset believes that intelligence is static, which leads to a desire to look smart and therefore a tendency to avoid challenges, give up easily due to obstacles, no resilience, see effort as fruitless, why should I bother, ignore useful feedback, and be threatened by other people's success. Whereas the growth mindset believes that intelligence can be developed. It leads to a desire to learn and therefore a tendency to embrace challenges, persist despite obstacles, see effort as a path to mastery, learn from criticism, and be inspired by other people's success. So which one are you? I did send out a quiz or a survey, which I will cover again after this and also during some content that I have planned for next week. So we then moved on to frequencies of thought frequencies. And this comes direct from Bob Proctor, who learnt it from Earl Nightingale. And they basically say that our thoughts are like radio stations, radio waves. Different thoughts are on different levels, like the lines on a sheet of paper. And every single level is connected to the one above and the one below. And we can move up through the thought levels or down them, depending on our choice to change our frequency. So at the moment, you are at a certain frequency. All your thoughts are on that frequency, your results are on that frequency. That is where you are. But then you have an idea and you set a goal. And your goal, as it should be, is a few frequencies higher than where you're operating now. So you decide, you make the decision that you're going to go for that goal. And you make the decision, and maybe a couple of your thoughts are up there, but mostly you're still focusing on where you are now. You're focusing on your outside world rather than from the inside out. So you make a decision, but you don't fully commit to that decision. You go, I really want that, and I'll do it when. Because you don't have the money to do it now, you go, I'll do that when I've got the money. And you sink back down and the goal fades eventually, because you can't get to it because you're waiting for things to happen. Whereas you have to take the leap of faith first to then get things to follow on. However, if you start to think and act like the person you want to become, your goal becomes your results. But you have to move your thoughts from where you are now to where you need to be to achieve that goal. You need to be on the same frequency as it in order to attract it to you. And that can be quite tricky. That is where I'm sitting at the moment. I am probably halfway between, a little bit up and down as I fully internalize this. And that's the way it is. With every single goal that you will set, you don't instantly go to that thought level because we're not programmed like that. You have to get your paradigm to start believing that you're actually able to be up here and that you're already there. And then your goal will come to you and it will become your results. But you have to think and act like the person you want to become, as if you've already got the things that you want. From thought frequencies, we then moved into how to develop a good mindset. And as I've said a couple of times this evening and a few times over the week, every bad thing has a good side. Every good thing has a bad side. Yin and yang, hot and cold. Yeah. So we discussed a few ideas on how to develop a good mindset. We choose what we think about, like I've said. So in every situation, it's up to you whether you focus on what you want or what you don't want. It's up to you to choose whether you see the good. So the first point here is focus on what you want, not on what you don't. So if you've got some debts that you want to pay off and you want to be debt free, focusing on being debt free is the same as focusing on the debts. So you'll just acquire more debt and you'll never get out of it. Whereas if you shift your mindset to one of abundance, you have everything you need, your mindset starts to change around the debts and you see yourself with the abundance. And of course, when you've got abundance, your debts will just naturally pay themselves off without you really even thinking about it. Okay, second point was to put and keep yourself in a high vibration. I did give some tips over this, but what works for you won't work for me, and what works for me might not work for you. Okay, so for me, I do some yoga, I listen to music, I do some drawing, I go for a walk, I spend some time in nature. Those are all my go-to things to put myself in a good vibration. You've got to find what works for you. It could be playing games, it could be in nature, it could be reading a book, it could be watching a film, anything that works for you. Eat high frequency foods, so organic vegetables, fruit, that sort of thing. Things that have got not too much refined sugar. So the examples I gave were broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, that sort of thing. Have a good amount of those in your diet, which puts your body in a nice detoxified state, because those are highly detoxifying foods. So if your body's not toxic, got no toxins in it, it's going to feel better. If your body feels good, you will naturally be in a higher vibration. Same with staying hydrated. It's what your body needs. We are 60-70% water. We need to stay hydrated. See, always got my water. Or apple and pear, this one is. Again, with the body, exercise regularly. Keep your body moving, keep the blood pumping, stops everything going a bit stale and stagnant and sore. Okay, you don't have to run a marathon every week. Do the amount of exercise that you enjoy doing for you. So I do yoga every day. I try and get my 10,000 steps in, and I go to the gym as often as I want, and I go on the arc machine, which is awesome. Or I go for a swim, or I go in the spa, or a bit of both, or all three. Okay, get sufficient sleep. Sufficient sleep is how much you need. So for me at the moment, it's about 6 to 7 hours. And if I get more or less than that, I'm just groggy. So I try and stick to my 6 to 7 hours, going to bed around 10:30, getting up around 5:30. That's what's working for me at the moment. It could work differently for other people. I have friends who go to bed at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and they get up about 9, 10 o'clock. They go, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and then they get up around 9 or 10 or 11. They're late workers. And then I have other friends who are in bed by 8, 9 o'clock and up and at them around 4 or 5 because they're early birds. Okay. I always used to say, I'm not an early bird. I'm not a night owl. I'm a permanently exhausted pigeon. But with all my new habits and the things that I'm doing at the moment, I am now becoming a bit more of an early bird. You also need to set meaningful goals. You need to know where you're going, and then you need to strive to make every day amazing, help others, and smile more often. Even just that little bit of emotion on your sides of your mouth makes a massive difference. Okay, we then moved into day 3. We looked at my planetuding approach with my lovely little journal. Atomic Habits, the book where this information for habits came from. Non-productive actions to productive actions. How to change habits, because you can't just stop doing them. And then decision and discipline. So we started off with the planetuding approach, which is a journal. It's got 100 pages for you to write in. It also has some templates and lots of information on a lot of the stuff that we're covering this evening. So it's made up of planning, gratitude, and intentions, and is a new daily habit to shift your approach and replace your paradigm. Okay. We then moved on to look at Atomic Habits, which is an awesome book by James Clear, where the next few slides of information came from. So non-productive actions are your bad habits. The things that you do that are not serving you, that are not productive. Facebook scrolling, Instagram scrolling, binge watching Netflix. Yeah, all of those things that you do, I do as well and have done, are not serving you. So within the planetuding approach, I have this form, which is also what I sent out on day 3 for you guys to do as your homework, turns your non-productive actions, gives you ideas of how to make them productive. So instead of scrolling social media, when I notice I am scrolling social media, I will do a 10-minute task instead. Okay, or when I notice I am eating all of the biscuits in the biscuit tin, I will put the biscuit tin away. Or when I notice I want a biscuit, I will take one from the biscuit tin and then go and sit down to eat it instead of taking the biscuit tin with me. Okay, so that is one way of switching habits. Okay, but a habit itself is a settled or regular tendency or practice, especially one that is hard to give up. And it's because your habits are controlled by your subconscious. You do them automatically without thinking. Try and put your shoes on, and when the next time you put your shoes or socks on tomorrow or later today, see which foot you put in first. Then the next time you do it, try and put the other foot in first and see how awkward it makes you feel. Okay, so as I've just said, your paradigm is in your subconscious mind. It is completely automatic, completely uncontrolled by you. It's controlled subconsciously by your mechanism. So in the book Atomic Habits, James Clear goes through some different examples of ways to change your habits. So he first starts off by getting you to think about the type of person who you want to be. So your desired identity. And then it's the habit I'll be focusing on is whatever it is that reinforces your desired identity. So I'm the type of person who is fit and healthy. The habit I'll be focusing on is doing exercise every day. Okay, it's an intention. He also covers implementation habits. So I will do a certain behavior at a certain day and time in a certain location. So using the fit and healthy example, I will go for a run at 6 o'clock in the morning in my local area. So it's behavior, time, and location. And when you set an intention, an implementation to do something, you are more likely to do it. You then have temptation habits. So I will only do the habit that I want to do, sit and watch Netflix or do some sewing for me, when I have done the habit that I need to do. So I will only do the thing I want to do when I've done the thing I need to do. So it could be that I will only go and do some sewing when I have answered some emails or answered all my emails or done my content for the next day or whatever it is that I need to do. He then suggests about habit tracking. So tracking your habits, ticking it off every single time that you do your habit productively. Okay? Because once you start getting into the high numbers and you've got a nice long streak going, you are less likely to break it. That's why on apps like Duolingo, they track how many days in a row that you do it. I've got a streak coming up 160 days now. And I would be devastated if I lost it because 160 days is a hell of a time. So I make sure every single day, regardless what I'm doing, I at least make 5 minutes a day to do Duolingo. Because I can't not do it now. It's a habit. And to be fair, I do it automatically. So most mornings, if it's not chucking it down when I've walked my daughter to school or I've had my breakfast or whatever, I will do Duolingo while I walk back. Or I will do it just before I go to bed. Or I'll get into bed and I'll do it just before I fall asleep. It's a habit. Okay. But he also mentions in the book about this 4 steps to any habit. So all of your habits happen when you have a cue, a trigger, you see the biscuit tin. You then have a craving for the thing that usually happens when you get triggered. I'm going to eat a biscuit, so I want a biscuit. Your mouth starts to salivate. You're expecting the biscuit. It's salivating just thinking about the biscuit. Your response is that you eat the biscuit, and then you're rewarded with the dopamine hit, the happy chemical hit, because you have completed that little cycle. Okay, so to change a habit, so you've decided that you will go for a run at 6 o'clock in the morning in your local area. To make that the most successful thing that you can do, you need to have a cue, fulfill that, like have a craving to do it, because you know the response and the reward. So habits need to be obvious, the cue. So for going for a run in the morning, or for me doing my yoga, I set my yoga mat up the night before. And so when I wake up, it's there, I see it. I'm like, straight away, it's there. It's convenient. If you're going for a run, have all of your stuff laid out the night before. So you then don't have to go looking for that sock that you really want to wear, or your waterproof jacket if it's raining. It's all there. That makes it easy to do the new habit. And then your reward is the benefit you're going to get from doing it. So focusing on the benefits that we gain from forming new habits always provides the motivation that's necessary. So if you're doing exercise, it's the benefit you're going to gain. You're going to feel happier. You're going to lose some weight. You're going to look better, in your opinion. Okay? So you have to have this cycle. Otherwise, you're just going to be fighting your paradigm and you're never going to win. That led us into decision and discipline. Stay committed to your decisions. Stay flexible in your approach. So we said about making a committed decision to get to a goal. That is the decision. Don't go back on it. Just because something gets in your way doesn't mean you change the decision. You give yourself a command and you follow it. So if you are doing a fitness regime and you end up picking up an injury, that's not a reason to stop. You just need to shift your approach. So you can't go running for a couple of days because you need to rest up. Do a body weight strength exercise in the lounge, or do a yoga exercise, or go for a swim. Do something else instead, but don't give up on the decision completely. The most successful people are those that make decisions quickly and then rarely, if at all, they change them. Okay, and the only prerequisite to making a decision is to know what you want. You know what you want, you make the decision to get it. And this is covered in a very, very in-depth program that I facilitate with the Proctor Gallagher Institute, and also through my planetuding approach. It's also a big topic in the book Think and Grow Rich, making committed decisions, and also the science of getting rich and lead the field, all of which are programs which are offered by the Proctor Gallagher Institute. And if you do want to delve into decision more, please let me know, drop me a message, and I can send you an article written by Bob himself that will give you a bit more information, and then we can start a conversation about where you can go next with the information. Okay, from decision, we went into day 4, which was all about motivation. So why we must have a goal, what is a worthy goal, how do we set a worthy goal, how does a goal keep us motivated, the get done list, which is my little thing, and accountability. So book by Maxwell Maltz, Psycho-Cybernetics, he realized that we are goal-striving cyber mechanisms. We're like a torpedo or a rocket. We need a destination to go, and then we correct to get to it. A bit like a sat-nav. So you plan in the destination, and then you set off going. And you don't need to know the whole route, but as you're going, you make little corrections to stay on track. More is covered in the session on day 4, yesterday's session, and also in that book, which is awesome. Okay, so what is a worthy goal? Bob discusses it as 3 different types. So you've got A type, B type, C type goals. A type, something you've done before. B type is something you think you can do, have a bit of an idea of how to do it. They're the ones where you make a decision and then say, oh, I'll do that when I've done such and such, or when I've got this amount of money. Doesn't really hold your motivation and it will fade. A C-type goal is something that you want to do. You have no idea how to do it, or even if you can do it, but all you know is that you want it, and that is enough. So how do you set a worthy goal? 5 steps. You write a list of what you want, what you really want, regardless of whether you think you can get it or not. You write it down. You then choose one thing and make that your goal. You write down why you want it, because that's going to keep your motivation. What will that thing do for you? Earning 10 times more income. What is that going to do for you? Doesn't matter about the money, it's what you're going to do with the money. You then create a goal card, like I showed you yesterday. So these are mine. Again, these are blank, but I have my one on a goal card that I carry around. And then you read it as often as you can. Really believe that you've already got it, which is why your goal card is written in the first person. So I am so happy and grateful now that I am earning 10 times my old income, or I am earning 10 grand a month, or I have a successful business that is bringing in consistent clients every week. Whatever it is that you want, written as if you already have it. See that person, use your imagination, feel how they feel, and act as if you are already them. Okay? How does a goal keep us motivated? It's all about the destination. So we know where we're going. We don't know how we're going to get there. But all we know is our mind is like a sat nav. You put the destination in, it calculates the route. You press go by taking the first step. At the end of the road, turn left. So you turn left. At the next roundabout, go straight on. I'm going straight on. It gives you it step by step by step, but only as you complete the step that you're on. And if it happens that something gets thrown in the way, there's a roadblock, there's a traffic, you need a detour, it will create a detour for you. You just have to be open-minded enough to see it. But as I said in yesterday's session, don't just stay focused on the goal, yes, but make sure you're aware of where you are now. Enjoy the journey. The journey is just as big a piece as the actual destination. Okay, so ask yourself every single day if what you're doing today is getting you any closer to where you want to be. And if not, stop doing it, because it's not productive. It's a non-productive action. We then looked at the get done list, which is a bit like a to-do list, but different. So you write your list of get dones, your to-dos, and as you work on one at a time, you move them into doing. Once it's then done, you move it to got done. And that list there creates your motivation, because every single time you think you've not been productive, you take a look at your got done list and you've got this big long list of the things you have done. And it just instantly you go, oh, I have actually done quite a lot. More on that was covered yesterday's session. Accountability was the last thing that we discussed. And isn't it too convenient just to forgive yourself, let yourself off the hook? What will keep you from doing it again then? So we said you need to hold yourself to account, but it's only so good. It will only get you so far. You need an accountability partner. And I am happy to do that for you. I do that for a few people already, and it's brilliant. I love doing it because it holds me to account as well. So if you do want an accountability partner and you haven't got anyone in your own social circle, reach out to me and let's see if we can work together. Okay? And that was it for the 5 days, or the 4 days of content. Okay? It's now day 5, so you have more homework. Hopefully you have done the homework across the week so far. So on day 1 was deciding what you really want, who you want to be. Day 2 with the mindset was looking at the growth versus fixed mindset. Day 3 with habits was looking at which habits are you going to change and upgrade. And then yesterday's was the motivation and was using what you did on Monday and across the week to set your new goal. Okay, so tonight your homework is as follows. You need to schedule a free, completely no obligation, 30-minute one-to-one call with me. It's a discovery call to see where you are now, where you want to be, and to get you started on the journey. Okay, and then it will also give us the chance to see if we can work together, see if there is any way that I can help you, or if you want me to. Okay, it's a two-way street. Second thing, I would love it if you could follow me on your social media platform of choice. All my details are in the YouTube link description, which will be up shortly after this video is finished. For those of you that are here live with me, I will drop it all into the email that I will send you in a second, and anyone who's registered will get that email anyway. I would also be super, super grateful if you could share these videos. So the recordings that are in the Facebook group or on YouTube, again, the link will be in the email that you will receive. Comment and like the videos. Let's get this information out as far as we can get it. And we can only do that if we share it. So thank you in advance for sharing it. And also massively looking forward to speaking to you on your discovery call. The link will be in the email. It is also on the screen right now, which is calendly.com/J, my funky way of spelling it. So JAIYE hyphen, so the little dash, RYP, rethink your perspective, /discovery. Any other way you want to get in touch, please, I would love to hear from you. I am here to serve, and that is my purpose. Okay, so let's have a quick look, see what questions we have, because we now have some time for some Q&A. I have gone a little bit over, but I am happy to stay on for a little bit. Okay. Oh, thank you for your comments. That's really, really sweet. Thank you. Awesome. Okay, the only question that has come through is about the courses that I mentioned earlier. So I mentioned Science of Getting Rich and I mentioned Lead the Field. These are both self-study courses. They do come with workbooks, which are quite in depth. And also the workbooks help you to really delve into the information. So it's all right attending a course or listening to some information, but if you don't apply it and you don't really internalize it, what's the point in doing it? Okay, so the workbooks give you lots and lots of activities, and as I said, they are self-study. However, if you were to purchase one, and they're all on my website, so rethinkyourperspective.com/programs, spelled PROGRAMS, okay, or just rethinkyourperspective.com, and then the link is at the top. I am always happy to answer any questions or jump on a call with my clients, with my customers, to discuss any issues that you have with them. Our flagship program that we offer is called Thinking into Results. It is an absolutely phenomenal 6-month course where you will get a weekly live call with me and some other people who are also on Thinking into Results. Different people might be on different lessons at different times, but we go through it step by step. We have a Q&A as well every other week. So you study one lesson for 2 weeks and you listen to the information twice a day and you have activities. And as I said, you have my contact details, so you are more than welcome to ask any questions at all during the course. More information on that I will send through in the email for this. If you are watching the recording, please feel free to get in touch because I would love to share this information with you as well. Okay, any other questions? Thank you for a very informative, well, you are very welcome. That says, thank you for a very informative and in-depth summary of everything covered. It really helped to sum it up. Great, thank you for being here. And that, guys, looks like it is it. So yeah, I look forward to seeing your Calendly invites coming in or your Calendly appointments coming in over the next couple of days. And again, if you are on the recording, this offer is open to you as well. Every single person who watches these series of videos, one of them or all five, or any of my videos to be fair, is more than qualified for a 30-minute discovery call to find out where you are, how this information can help you, where you want to go, and how to get started. So thank you again for joining me this evening. Thank you for your trust, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your week or day or evening or wherever you are in the world. Thank you very much. Cheers. Bye.